Okay. Don't want me to be drunk. Did a little bit of shrooms, so I think we're ready to go.
3 sheets to the wind! Land ho!
Hi, I'm drinking wine from a mug because the last time I was drunk, I broke our wine glass. What did the CEOs of all the big banks eat for lunch during the 2008 financial crisis? I'm here to tell you what they fucking ate for lunch, but first we're gonna have to go back. What the fuck is a stock market and shit? So if you want to invest in success, America will reward that because capitalism is stupid. You can put your money into a thing that you're like, I think this has inherent value. And then when it creates value, you will get your investment back. If you invest in something that is stupid, like everything, you're not gonna get your money back. And that's like, hey, it's win, it's lost. It's like gambling, and gambling is addictive. Many moons ago, the stocks, they go up and they go down, and not go down like the fun way. They go down like bad. Like people are like, I'm not even interested in whatever your fucking product is, which is stinky. Where do we start? And what is this edit gonna look like when it's over? Who cares? If you have a lot of money, you don't really lose it because capitalism is a really broken fucking system where the rich stay rich and the poor earn the rich people the money. And it's almost like, wow, if we could break that cycle. Stocks are this invisible thing that doesn't really matter. It's just as fake as money is. And you take your fake money, you put it in the fake idea of something, and the fake idea earns fake value, and you can then take out of the stock market and turn into real rewards. Because when you are in the stock market, it's all imaginary. In the late 70s, when, Louis Rainier? I got a bunch of notes. Louis! I'm just gonna call him Louis because I have, reading is hard. Salomon Brothers invented the idea of trading mortgages. Mortgages are super fucking boring, especially in the late 70s. Everyone's like, yeah, you get a mortgage, your individual banker tells you, oh yeah, hey, you got like a nice little job there at the factory. I think you could probably afford a house if you stay at the factory. And you'd be like, oh, don't worry, I plan on staying at the factory. I love the fucking factory. Factories are so fucking cool. And then you get a house, and then in 30 years you pay off your mortgage, and then you actually, after a 30-year investment, have the idea of financial freedom, which is just like, why would it take that long to feel free in America? I don't know why America's in quotes. Yes, people have mortgages and they're gonna pay them. But if you quantize 1,000 mortgages, 10,000 mortgages, 100,000 mortgages into like a sellable unit, you can be like, hey, what if you start to make like a mortgage? What if you wanna bet on this mortgage bond? Like, hey, I bet if these people paid that bond, wouldn't that be cool? What's a bond? It's different than a stock. I don't fucking know, and I don't fucking care. I never went to college. What do I look like? A rich piece of shit? Mortgage bonds. I talked about them, right? Yeah. They are creating all of this money just by people paying their mortgage. And of course, the American economy goes up because we're not in this indefinite war and we don't have an mindless moron running everything, or we do. Who really knows how to define politics? Am I right? People are going, they're paying their mortgages, that's sturdy. We're binding up different types of mortgages, we're selling them off. Oh, now it's a gamble. It's like football's boring when there's one guy, but when there's 1,000 guys, it's super interesting, and I don't know how sports work. But there comes this time where we're running out of mortgages to sell to people who are willing to buy the risk of a mortgage. And that's what it comes down, is like, there's no more mortgages. We're out. Every mortgage that has been made is gone. Well, what do? Well, if this is a moneymaker, you have to start making more you need the more mortgages, the more money. And since the banks, which give mortgages out, and the big banks, which, you know, they're both banks. Ever heard of them? Little banks are like, oh, there's more of an incentive to give a mortgage. And the big banks are like, yeah, we need some more mortgages. And this is where we run into trouble. So in the early 2000s, we're fucking, the barrel is empty. There are no more mortgages left to sell. And then how are we gonna even sell mortgages if we don't have any? That's what the banks say. The banks are all like, where's all the mortgages? The answer is give more mortgages, because then we can quantify those mortgages and sell them off. Mortgages are like fucking butter? I don't know. What's a commodity that everybody is like, oh, this one, air, water, who gives a fucking shit? Like, anybody could get a mortgage because mortgages meant money. If you were a small town, stupid person, like I am, I could walk into a bank and be like, hi, I don't have a job and I don't have paperwork and my name is something you don't even need to fucking know about, and I would like to have $400,000, please. And a bank would be like, great, that sounds good. You'll have an adjustable mortgage rate and you'll be good to go. And someone would be like, thank you for the $400,000 in the name of buying a home. The adjustable interest rate is what was the fulcrum for the 2008 financial crisis. You could have a teaser rate of maybe like, oh, your interest, because if a bank gives you money, of course they're gonna ask for something back. This little teaser rate is 2 years, give or take, but they're trying to like fucking throw mortgages out like they're fucking nothing. After that 2 to 5 year thing, it's an adjustable interest rate. Then the bank gets what they want. And what the bank wants is more than you're probably ever able to pay, because money is the only commodity we have, and the banks are somehow these like super soldiers that can milk the money out of us, and the government just lets that slide, baby. These adjustable mortgage rates really fucking nailed it in 2005 to 2007, where all of a sudden $200 to the bank for my mortgage, $200 to the bank for my mortgage, $300 to my bank. Now your adjustable interest rate switches. And that's a contract you fucking signed to get your free $400,000 for being a fucking loser. Loser. Now they jack that price up and you can't pay it, so you're gonna default. If people are defaulting on their bank loans from 2005 to 2007, and you know, it's just constant default, because the bank set these terms and limits because they wanted this short-term ability to say that we packaged up these mortgages and made them sellable to large financial industries, and the bank really didn't care, because the little bank is the same as the big bank. The little bank doesn't really care what the fuck is happening, and the big bank is just happy that it got a bunch of mortgages bundled together that they could sell in the mortgage bond market. And the mortgage bond market exists because people always pay their mortgage, but now all of the sudden in American history we have people not paying their fucking mortgage because they have 1 to 2 to 5 mortgages. So now the financial crisis happens when everyone is trading these mortgage bonds like they're fucking gold, and all of a sudden they start defaulting, and they start defaulting all at once. And everyone's like, oh. And some banks were like, oh, it looks like I had a bunch of money tied up in mortgages and people aren't paying their mortgages, so I'm gonna actually pull my money out, and I don't think you're good for it, because if people aren't paying their mortgages, you aren't getting paid, because I invested in the idea that these people are paying, so I just want to have my money. So now somebody like Lehman Brothers, RIP, is like, I don't have the money, daddy, and I need to have more money. And you have companies like AIG, which is an insurance company, and they're tied up in fucking JP Morgan's bullshit, and they're tied up in Goldman Sachs bullshit, and they're tied up in fucking Citibank's bullshit, all the fucking bullshit that you've ever heard about in your whole life when you're like, I don't really know what that means. Well, it means that you're fucked. If they exist, you're fucked. Merrill Lynch, that's another word, and that's where we get to our first little lunch. Our first little lunch is a Merrill Lynch lunch. John Thain became the CEO in late December of 2007, and then a couple months later, he had a breakfast with the ex-CEO, John O'Neill. And Stan O'Neill is like, oh, if you want to have breakfast, we should have it at my lawyer's office. And he has a plate of fruit. And that's the first meal we have at the precipice of the 2008 financial crisis. Fast forward to JP Morgan, somebody that I mentioned earlier. Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan's 52nd birthday, and he is at a Greek restaurant called Avra.
I was at Avra, this Greek restaurant.
And he gets a phone call and someone says, hey, we need like a couple $2 billion to keep our business.
Jamie, I need $29 billion.
Because the mortgage bubble is about to fully burst and we are just now finding out about it in March 2008.
Before Asia opens, or we're gonna have to declare bankruptcy.
And he says, oh, well, I can't do that.
Alan, I can't possibly lend you $29 billion overnight.
Fuck him. September's when it really starts hitting, which is hilarious. The financial crisis is happening right before an election year, which isn't that when they always happen? Funny how the markets work. So on September 13th, John Mack and Walid Shaman, who are, let me retake that. So on September 13th, John Mack and Walid Shama? I don't know how to pronounce your last name. You're a rich fuck. It doesn't really bother me if I say it wrong. They are at San Pietro's, which is an Italian restaurant in New York. They had a bottle of Barbasecco, which is some sort of wine that I've never drank because I'm poor. They had plates of Timballo di Baccala con pate and plates of fave e pomorodoro. Again, tapas, small plates, what's the fucking deal? None of them choked on the food. What a travesty to food. On that same Saturday, Jamie Dimon, who months ago had his 52nd birthday interrupted, God for fucking bid, he's now having to eat in the offices of JP Morgan. He's having to keep the executive chefs on longer shifts because he's working such long days. Fact. And he has tacos, and he eats tacos. Then we get to September 15th. September 15th, Hank Paulson is so fucked up running the Federal Reserve that he starts a press briefing like this.
And I hope you all had an enjoyable weekend.
So after this idiot doesn't even know how to fucking speak in public like I don't know how to speak in private, Jamie Gamble, who is an AIG counsel lawyer, he doesn't even work for AIG, the company that is at the root of all these dog shit mortgages. This guy is eating, you know what? I'm looking at notes and I don't even care. I'm just gonna bring that to the forefront. He and a couple other AIG lawyers are having Chinese takeout because they're like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do with all these money problems. I guess we should just order takeout and try to work these long hours. Oh, somebody else, they definitely also, some people were at San Pietro's, but I don't know what they ate. But like John Mack was definitely there. That's his favorite fucking restaurant. He's a fucking sack of shit. That's what we're figuring out right now, September 19th, which is when Colm Keller, who's a Morgan Stanley's second in charge, is at Bluefin. And Bluefin is a little sushi restaurant in New York. And he literally has sushi, spicy lobsters, yellowtail tuna, and tteokbokki, which is a thing I don't know about because I'm poor. On September 11th, 2018, never forget, At the Willard Intercontinental Financial Crisis Dinner, some of these motherfuckers are eating bacon biscuits, fried mozzarella, fucking red wine, and they're eating my ass. Again, that guy, no one ever went to jail for this. They just ate sushi and then they retired rich. So everyone should grab a rock and club the next billionaire they fucking see. 'Cause I can't afford bluefin. 'Cause sushi is like good sex. It's always raw.